Jai Shriman Narayana. Hello everyone, I'm the Pauranika. Welcome to the 30th episode of Sri Mahabharata as written by sage Vedavyasa. This episode is in continuation to the Sambhava Parva of Adi Parva. Acharya Drona settled comfortably in the services of the Kuru kingdom. Bhishma gave him a house filled with lot of wealth and made arrangements for the training of his grandsons. Guru Drona accepted the Pandavas and Dhartarashtras as his disciples. During the same time, many princes from other kingdoms too used to study under Drona. Many Vrishnis, Andhakas, royals of many kingdoms, and even Karna, the son of Athirada too, studied under Dronacharya. One day, Drona spoke to the students seated around him. Boys, I have a desire in my heart. I want you to fulfill that once your Astra Vidya is completed. What do you think? The Kauravas remained silent. Then Arjuna rose up and promised that he would attain his teacher's desire. Drona was immensely pleased by Arjuna. He placed his hand on Arjuna's head and hugged him fondly. Karna had an animosity towards Arjuna and constantly used to fight with him. With the help of Duryodhana, he always used to insult the Pandavas. However, with his unquenchable thirst towards the knowledge of Dhanurveda, with great practice and effort, Arjuna became as good as his teacher Drona. Dronacharya used to give tumblers to all his students to fill water, and he used to give a pot to Ashwadhama. As a result, Ashwadhama used to return early while the rest used to take time. During that period, Dronacharya used to teach some of the other technique of Dhanurveda to Ashwadhama. Arjuna noticed this act of Drona. He then used the Brahmaastra to fill the water and started returning along with Ashwadhama. With his mighty effort and great devotion towards studies and towards serving his teacher, Arjuna became the favorite disciple of Dronacharya. One day, Dronacharya called the cook and told him to never feed Arjuna in the dark and do not tell him about this either. However, one day, while Arjuna was eating, a strong wind blew and the lamps were blown out. Arjuna continued to eat. Then a thought suddenly occurred to him. Arjuna realized that he was able to eat in the dark and that was happening due to practice. He then thought the same would apply to archery and started practicing at night. One night, Dronacharya woke up to the sound of Arjuna's bowstring. He saw Arjuna practicing in the dark. A pleased Drona hugged Arjuna and said, I will make you the best archer in the world. After that, Drona taught him the art of fighting while being on elephants, chariots, horses, and also while standing on the ground. After hearing about Drona's skill in teaching, thousands of kings and the princes came to him for education. One of them was Ekalavya, the son of the tribal king Hiranyadhanva. However, Drona, whose focus was entirely on Kauravas, did not accept him in as he was a Nishada. But Ekalavya did not give up. He went back to the forest, made an idol of Drona, and with the greatest of reverence towards the idol, he started practicing Dhanurvidya and became an expert archer. Later, one day, the Pandavas and Kauravas went to hunt with the permission of Drona. They started on great chariots. Behind them, a person came along carrying the hunting equipment, followed by a dog. As the boys roamed around in the forest, the poor dog went to Ekalavya, who was practicing in the woods. The dog barked at him, and Ekalavya shot 7 arrows in varied ways at the dog's face. With the arrow stuck to his face, the dog ran towards the Pandavas. They were shook by the sight and went in that direction to see the man who did this. As much time had passed, the Pandavas couldn't recognize Ekalavya. They asked, "Who are you? How could you do this?" Then Ekalavya said, "I'm the son of tribal king Hiranyadhanva. My name is Ekalavya. I learned Dhanurveda from Dronacharya. That's how I could accomplish this feat." Arjuna felt weak in his heart. He returned to the ashrama and stayed silent for a long time. The Pandavas and Kauravas narrated the story of Ekalavya to Dronacharya. Later at night, due to the comfort he had with his teacher, Arjuna spoke with Drona. "Acharya, you said that I'll be the greatest of your students. Today I saw a man called Ekalavya, your student. How did he manage to become the greatest of archers?" Drona thought about Ekalavya for a long time and decided on his course of action. He went to Ekalavya along with Arjuna. Ekalavya, who saw Dronacharya coming in his direction, rushed towards him and touched his feet. He introduced himself as the student of Drona. Then Drona said, "Veera, if you are my student, you should offer Guru Dakshina too." "Bhagavan, ask me anything. There is nothing in the world that cannot be given to the teacher," Ekalavya said. Then Dronacharya asked for Ekalavya's right thumb and Ekalavya happily gave it. "Now practice this way," said Drona and taught him a method. Using that technique taught by Drona, Ekalavya could still shoot the arrows, but the speed wasn't as good as before. A mild sense of relief and calm prevailed in the heart of young Arjuna. That way, Drona became a man who stayed by his word. Duryodhana and Bhima became exceptional in Gadha wielding a mace. However, they always stayed angry towards each other. Ashwadhama became an expert in Dhanurveda archery. Nakula and Sahadeva developed unmatchable skill in sword fight. Yudhishthira became the best in fighting from a chariot. However, Prince Arjuna, with his great effort, became the best and greatest in all these skills among all the warriors on earth. While Drona taught Astra Vidya to all the boys alike together, Arjuna with his valor became the greatest of them. Arjuna was the best in Astra Vidya and Bhima's strength had no match. This caused great jealousy in the hearts of the Dhartarashtras. After the boys completed their training, Drona wanted to test their strength in Astras. He got an eagle replica made and placed it on a branch of a tree. He asked his students to assemble around. Then he told them that he would call them one by one and they should place the target on the bird and wait for a while. "Shoot the bird when I tell you to," Drona said. He called Yudhishthira first. Yudhishthira pointed to the bird, pulled the string and waited. Drona said, "Look at the bird on the tree." "Yes, Acharya," said Yudhishthira. Then Drona asked, "Do you see the tree? Me and your brothers too?" "Yes, Acharya, I see all of you," Yudhishthira replied. Drona got irritated and asked him to move. "You can't hit the target," he said. Then Drona called all his students, starting with Duryodhana one by one. Their responses were similar to the response of Yudhishthira. Then it was Arjuna's turn. As Arjuna pointed the arrow and stood, Drona asked, "Do you see the bird, the tree, and me?" "No," Arjuna replied. "I see only the bird." Drona was pleased by the response. "If you see the bird, describe it," How does its body look? Drona asked. Can't see, Acharya. I'm just looking at the head, said Arjuna. Drona felt proud and happy. Release the arrow, he said. Arjuna shot and the head of the bird statue fell to the ground. Drona hugged Arjuna, believing that he can defeat the army of Drupada. Some time had passed, and one day Drona went to Ganga along with his students. While he was taking his bath, a crocodile attacked him. Though he was strong enough to free himself, he asked his students to save him. Arjuna immediately shot 5 arrows at the crocodile and killed it to rescue his teacher, while the rest of the party looked at Drona in a helpless state. Then Drona presented an astra by name Brahmaastra and taught the Prayoga and Upasamhara, the knowledge of firing it and recalling it, to Arjuna. Arjuna, never use this on humans. This is not a normal weapon. Practice its usage with great control over mind and body. Use this only against non-human enemy in a war, Drona said. Arjuna said that he would abide by the rule and obtain the astra. Thank you. Jai Sriman Narayana.
Thank you.